On today's show, Evan Mobley returns, and the Cavs still got absolutely shellacked in South Beach. Is it time to raise the panic meter? We're going to discuss that and more on today's Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. I'm Chris Manning. That's Evan Dammarell. Thanks again to Jake Stevens. As always, we're going to get into Cavs Heat more so in segment 2 because that was an awful game. An awful Cavs performance. There's not any other way to sugarcoat that or say that. The Cavs sucked, and we're going to talk about what went wrong there. But the big news of the day is that Evan Mobley, I think someone unexpectedly returned from his ankle sprain. He was listed as questionable on the injury report, and then he ends up starting. Evan, what did you make of Evan Mobley in his first game back in several weeks?
Well, what a wet fart to come back on after losing by... Oh my gosh, I can't even find the margin. But either way, just disgusting game. They lost by 37 points. Okay. But Evan Mobley was the only Cavalier to score in double digits. But I think,
that's the most depressing thing I've ever heard. That's super depressing, honestly.
In 21 minutes of play. To give you context to how bad this game was, folks, if you didn't tune in, maybe spent your Sunday doing something else. I think there's clear signs of rust. He hadn't played in almost 3 weeks. Physically, it's going to be a bit of a ramping up process. I know, cardio wise and working with assistants or teammates and practice situations can only do you so much. It's going to be a ramping up, but it's encouraging to see him take 2 3-pointers. This first shot being a 3-pointer actually that he makes, but overall 15 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 fouls, 2 turnovers. I think the 1 foul to end the first half was kind of questionable on his part, but either way, we'll see if he plays against Charlotte on Monday. I would doubt he would, but maybe the Cavs need to do a bit of a tonal reset. They might just have all hands on deck for that game, or just based on who's available. But Mobley, he looked like I expected in terms of just rusty, but at least looked a little bit comfortable at times in offense, but then also was clear this guy is a guy who has not played in almost 3 weeks.
His stat line, 21 minutes, 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 5 of 6 from the line, 4 rebounds and assists, no blocks, 2 turnovers, 15 points. If I'm going to take 2 things away from this, Evan, that are, I think, tell you something good about Mobley, it's that his first shot was a 3 and he took 2 threes. That's great. And then I thought the aggression was there. The timing, as you said, I think very astutely with the cardio issues, with just this being his first game back, wasn't sharp. This was not an Evan Mobley where you felt like his timing was exactly right, that his nowhere to be on defense was there. That was all very, very, very true. If I'm going to look at him and just say, okay, he actually picked something up from when he was gone and didn't wait till he came back, or didn't leave something that he had showcased before the injury and just leave that behind, and he's not going to come back doing some of that stuff. This at least made me think, okay, the rest of the way, as weird as this team seems to, as a funk as this team seems to be in, and we don't know where they're going to be in, and when anyone's really going to be healthy in terms of Mitchell and Strus and whatnot, him taking threes and him being aggressive and trying to dunk and get to the line, I can at least look at that and say, I can work with this. That is, if there's anything from this game that tells me something good, that's the one thing that I'm feeling good about if I'm the Cavs. And everything else sucks, but that at least was good.
Yeah, there wasn't much to feel good about in this one. JB Bickerstaff said post-game, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, we're warned, it was just one of those nights you do wonder if it's the South Beach flu and the Miami nightlife celebrating.
There is a EDM music festival going on right next door.
And also, maybe they celebrated Tristan Thompson's birthday a second time or something. Who knows? But Either way, just was not a good performance. But yeah, it was at least encouraging to see that Mobley, albeit like with the cardio rust and maybe just some other just like smaller bumps and bangs and just things you're not like really seeing. Maybe if he was just fully acclimated to what the Cavs are doing right now, but like you got positive returns. As long as you ignore the plus minus factor of it, and Mobley's limited time on the floor, it's going to be a ramping up process. I am curious again to see how Bickerstaff and the Cavs handle it. Do they shut him down heading into Monday's game against Charlotte, and then let him play Wednesday against Charlotte, and then he plays Friday against Philly, and then they start that lengthy mountain/West Coast road trip to wrap up the season? And hopefully he's just feeling more and more like himself and can be a difference maker on defense, because this offense is rudderless right now for the Cavs. And if they're able to at least find some stability on defense and kind of keep teams in check and just make games really ugly, just to kind of keep finding a groove heading into the postseason, Evan Mobley is going to be the catalyst of it. And as long as he's feeling healthy and comfortable and, knock on wood, no more freak injuries, he can just be a huge difference maker with, the 12 or so games left in this season.
Boy, this game was just...
It was brutal. My
Is it weird that no, go ahead.
No, my wife was doing some cleaning and like came down and she's like, "What's the score?" And I said, "Oh, it's like 107-69." She's like, "Is it only halftime?" And I said, "No, it's mercifully there's 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter." So yeah, but like my notebook doesn't have much on this one other than just like offensively, this Cavs team continues to be rudderless. And you can't wait on Donovan Mitchell to walk through that door and save you at this point.
Yeah, it also, I don't know, maybe this is just the South Beach thing, maybe whatever it is, a little surprising to me and a little weird that you get Mobley back and it wasn't like a galvanizing thing, just in the sense of you got one of your most important players back.
Oh yeah, that's
weird to me.
That's a little concerning, I'd say. Just because, he is integral to what you're doing defensively if you're Cleveland. And also just, he's a key player for you, obviously. But just very flat performance overall. JB just said, in the third quarter, he benched all the starters and did an entire line shift and played the entire bench the rest of the way. JB said, the guys just didn't have it. And then you saw Mobley sneak back in to get some burn to kind of keep him getting back into shape. But yeah, this one was pretty out of hand early, and it's really frustrating just because you want to kind of find conducive basketball to ease Evan Mobley back into the lineup and rotation and everything else.
Yeah, I will say that I do think at least pulling them was smart in the sense if you get out ahead of tomorrow and maybe you can be ready to play the G League Charlotte Hornets on Monday night at home instead of extending yourself too far. And this one, again, Evan Mobley back. That's good. The rest, very bad. So again, 21 minutes from Mobley, 15 points, 4 boards and assists, 2 from 3, 5-6 from the line. All right, coming up next, let's get into this game. All the suck. The lowest scoring Cavs game of the year, 84 points, a new low. The first time they failed to break 90 this entire season. We'll discuss what went wrong, what it tells us after this.
Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as early as Q1 2024 is validated by Radius Global Market Research. Just check them out today at Robinhood.
Today's episode is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. So, Evan, I'm going to use Jared Allen to explain some of what went wrong in this game. If you go back and watch this game and you watch the way the Cavs are trying to run their offense at times, you don't have Donovan Mitchell. Darius Garland really struggled against some of the high traps. This whole team did. They needed, once they got the ball inside, they needed something to anchor themselves to. So they do what they've done at times this year, which is get Jared Allen the ball at the elbow, at the nail, and he gets to make a play from there. He looked overwhelmed in this spot. And when he looks overwhelmed in that spot and is not looking to pass, is not looking to drive, is just looking to take jumpers, it's kind of over at that point. When you are just freezing there and you are either committing turnovers or looking completely flustered and overwhelmed, and that's where you end up, and your offense stalls out right there amid everywhere else it's stalled out, it's over. To me, once that started happening and Bam Adebayo was Bam Adebayoing against Jared Allen, it's just like, okay, Cavs are going to lose this one. They scored 39 points in the first half, got it to 84. New season low, I think, on both fronts. The last time, Evan, that they scored, actually a couple days ago was the other one. They scored 91 in that loss to the Wolves, 91 in October against the Knicks, then 94 in December against Orlando. This is a new season low by a pretty big margin, and I think that kind of stalling out tells you how it happens more than anything else.
Yeah, and I think, just thinking right now, this might be the fourth worst loss the Cavs have suffered in J.B. Bickerstaff's tenure as head coach, but use Jared Allen to describe this matchup against Miami. I'm going to reference one of my favorite skate videos, Enjoy's 2006 video, Bag of Suck, because this entire game was a bag of suck for Cleveland from wire to wire. Again, Chris noted it was depressing to kind of just say out loud, yes, the Cleveland Cavaliers' leading scorer in this game, the only guy to break double digits was Evan Mobley, which, great if you want Evan Mobley kind of back on the floor and feeling comfortable with himself, but Cleveland trailed as much as by 45 at one point in this game, and there were just moments that it was clear the Cavs didn't have it, the Heat did. The Heat were incredibly balanced in this matchup. It wasn't, yes, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo were the proverbial headliners for this team, as stars tend to do, but you're getting contributions from Patty Mills, Terry Rozier. DeLon Wright was giving you juice even if he didn't score in double digits, but Haywood Highsmith was burning the Cavs on the perimeter. Thomas Bryant was imposing his will against Jared Allen or even Tristan Thompson at times. And then even Caleb Martin was causing a lot of damage too. This was just a collective effort on Miami's part just to throw Cleveland out of the rhythm pretty quickly, as you had noted, hitting Garland with a lot of heavy traps. Unfortunately, I think a lot of teams just have a lot of footage on how to disrupt the flow for Cleveland offensively, and it's making Darius Garland as uncomfortable as possible and forcing others to create. And the tricky thing is Garland was pretty one note. Sure, he didn't have any turnovers, but when Karis LeVert's your other safety valve in the starting lineup and your presumptive secondary ball handler for most lineups when Garland isn't playing, it's tough because LeVert was very bad in this game. He had 2 points on 1 of 5. Everyone on this team was very bad, but he had 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting, a steal, 2 fouls, 3 rebounds, and an assist. And Garland, like I said, had 9, 3, and 4 with 0, or with 1 turnover, excuse me. But either way, it just was not a good game. It was a big old bag of suck, and you kind of just have to let this one roll off your back as best as you can and reset the tone against Charlotte. But it's just a little worrying that you are saying okay, let this roll off your back, reset the tone, etc., when there are, doing the math in my head right now, 11 games left in the regular season, and then the playoffs are literally right on the horizon.
Yeah, we're gonna get into this in segment 3 of how much time there really is left, and it's not a lot, and what that means for this group. But I look at this in a macro sense, Evan, and just think about no Mitchell, and it's obvious how important he is. He's the best player in this team. You take a top 15, top 10 guy, whatever he is, off your team, and you're gonna be worse. That's just how the NBA works. But this is like they go from, and not all the time, they've had some good performances, but there's nights where it looks like they're one of the worst teams in the league when he doesn't play. This is one of them. Like, yes, Miami's better coached. Yes, Miami is going to be tougher. They're at home. I mean, you just saw that, like, Karis LeVert earlier in this game had absolutely no shot at defending Jimmy Butler. Like, it was just like, okay, if he got 2 quick fouls, both because Jimmy just pretty openly attacked him, right? No Mitchell, and you just fall apart, and nothing really works, is like, it's alarming. It's weak. It feels like for a team that has the talent that it had, maybe this is just telling us something about the talent and we have to think about it differently, but it's also just like, it's a little surprising to me that it's this bad, even if you want to have all the caveats that you can about Garland's weird year and Mobley's weird year and everything.
Yeah.
That can't be everything. And ultimately, like, you kind of are where you are, and right now, it's like, no Mitchell, this team is bad, is a really awful place to be, and no Strus as well, but like, there's not a lot of time left, and you take out Mitchell, and this is what you get. That's pretty alarming on a lot of fronts. Yeah,
this team was very good before they got Donovan Mitchell, and they are rudderless without Donovan Mitchell, especially this season. And funnily enough, I made an allusion to it, but I did forget Rick Pitino, Donovan Mitchell's college coach, said this, but like, Donovan Mitchell's not going to be walking through that door anytime soon. Like, it seems pretty clear that the focus for Mitchell is to get ready for the postseason to make sure his knee's 100% for a possible playoff run for the Cavs, and so it doesn't become a recurring issue. Sure, maybe he does play a little bit to finish the regular season. That would be ideal, but good golly, this was it's just discouraging because the Cavs have been a very mediocre team post All-Star break. They think heading into this game, they were 18th in points scored per game and 18th in points allowed per game, and it was like a 2.5 points per game allowed margin, so like they're negative 2.5 points allowed per game in like net rating. And so like, yeah, you're hoping maybe the defense can kind of level up and beat the offense again, but like they're just rudderless, and it just feels like they're going through the motions and either marching towards the end of the season or just, you know, thinking like, okay, we're too talented, let this click. But you actually have to put out the effort because your best player is not going to be able to help you from the sidelines, or if he didn't travel with this team at home.
Yeah, and it's 2 other things. Number one, also not like the Heat weren't injured in this game. I understand they had Bam back for this one. I understand that like they had Jimmy, but no Kevin Love, no Jaime Jaquez, no Tyler Hero. Like, they're also hurt, and they just step up. That says something about that group. That just does. Secondly, this is now the Cavs' first 3-game losing streak since December. The last time they lost 3 in a row was they lost to Orlando and then Boston twice.
They ripped off the craziest sequence of basketball I've seen from a very undermanned team.
Yeah, and like they played as well as they did the entire year, found something really great for them, had a lot of success, pushed themselves up into the 2 seed, forefront at that point. And now this is like the exact opposite. It's the bizarro world version of whatever that was. And even that 3-game losing streak, to me, it's a little bit different. It's like the Heat are good, and you lost to them twice during this. The Wolves are good, even though they don't have Cat. So, like, you lost to 3 good teams, but it's not like you lost to Boston twice. It's like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, Boston's maybe the best team in the league. They might win the title this year. This is, for a team like Cleveland, you can just lose 3 games in a row, even with injuries. It feels like maybe you should have just got, like, one against this caliber team, particularly that neither of those teams are healthy either. This is, like, a very... There's times where, like, this is one of those moments where, like, if I could just get like some True Serum from everyone, if I got like if I had like 3 doses of True Serum a year to use to like find out exactly what the team was thinking, I would use one of them on this moment just to know what the vibe actually is.
Yeah, because you're not gonna hear anything like too telling. Like you do wonder, like, did you see what Ty Lue said after they dropped a home game to the undermanned Sixers and James Harden stormed out of the arena before anyone could do anything or talk to him?
No, noted Ty's hilarious, so I'm sure this was
the best
funny.
coach in Cavs history. Ty Lue on losing to the sword-handed Sixers at home. It's embarrassing when you lose to teams like that. And I think if you're the Cavs, I'm not going to question how JB approaches this tactically or how he is very much a coach who will never actively throw his players under the bus. But like, there are moments where it just feels like the Cavs are going through their motions, and yeah, we can talk about this more in the next segment, but it's just overwhelmingly concerning with so little time left heading into the playoffs.
Ty, one of the things, I will be old and forgotten a lot of other things in life. Ty, when he would get asked stuff about like starters or injuries or stuff, and he would just didn't want to answer the question, he would just say, "I forgot," king stuff from my guy. Just not even trying to like give you like a journalist answer.
He's a good coach at just keeping his finger on the pulse and just kind of really like pushing his team when they need them to be pushed.
No BS with there's no BS with Ty.
He doesn't mince words. He doesn't treat anyone differently. I mean, like, he challenged LeBron James.
Sometimes with the Cavs, honestly, like this isn't even just like a JB thing. A little bit of fluff. You could do without some of the fluff with this team. Sometimes is what I would say. All right, after this, is it time to panic? Is it time to really worry about this team? We'll talk about that up next. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. It's demon time on PrizePicks. You can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Demons and goblins are the newest and most exciting way to play at PrizePicks. Squares marked with red demons or green goblins get you different payouts, so you could win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedInNBA and use code LockedInNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/LockedInNBA. Use our code LockedInNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. That's PrizePicks. Evan, scale of 1 to 10. Cavs losers in a row, still not fully healthy, 11 games left in the regular season. How concerned are you about this team?
Is 10 the highest?
10 to scale of 1 to 10. One being like you're meditating on a nice island and you're relaxed and zen.
A healthy LeBron James is on this team. I would give it about a 7.5, teetering on an 8 right now, just because of how listless they are offensively. Like, I know it's not the same without Strus or Wade or Mitchell out there, especially Mitchell, but there's a lot of plug-and-play stuff you can still do with different guys in the rotation and different flows. And yeah, you can chalk it up to injuries, or you can chalk it up to Darius Garland just not being comfortable at all on the court, but there is just something that is lacking for the Cavs on offense, and it is compromising the defense because the defense can't just level up and match anything because you don't have Evan Mobley, or Jared Allen just can't give you everything on the perimeter, and Isaac Okoro can't, and on the interior as well, or like Isaac Okoro can only do so much too. Like, the Cavs are just very unbalanced, and it feels like they are rocking back and forth, and I don't know what's going to set them straight, but it could be Donovan Mitchell being 100% and being back, but like, it's just the offense is just so blasé, and like it just looks so lifeless whenever they're trying to like execute anything offensively.
Yeah, and it's like if you're dependent on Mitchell to solve everything, that concerns me. I would be hoping that I would hope that Darius Garland would have found more of a rhythm by now. That hasn't happened. You would have hoped Jared Allen could have continued the really good run of play that he has not been the same guy even before. Even not just this game. I don't think he's been quite as sharp the last week or so. That's a concern. You don't have Strus still. You don't have it's very up in the air about what they're even going to say about him or what that's going to look like. Like, you are not close to healthy. Your best player, you don't know exactly what he's going to look like with this injury or how explosive he can be when he comes back. He came back once and had to go back on the sidelines. Oh, and he also had a facial fracture, so there's that on top of that. And you look at the rest of the schedule, you got Charlotte 3 times. You have Memphis, which is great. Those are 4 games. You're like, heck yeah, brother. I love those. 3 of them at home. 3 of those 4 at home. Those are good games to have. You also have, with the Women's Final Four, a road trip that takes you to Denver, Utah, Phoenix, LA, and LA.
with Utah being the winnable game of those 5, I'd say.
But I think they could. I mean, look, the Cavs under John Beilein went and won in Denver, so like, Lord knows they could. Sometimes you just win stuff on the road that happens.
And but let's just not forget they did beat the Nuggets at home very early into the season.
Yeah, like things can happen, but like that's a hard schedule. You're on the road late in the year. You're bringing guys back, incorporating them back in. Like, there's just a lot of things being juggled right now. And if you were to say, like, okay, what is a way for the Cavs to prepare themselves best for the postseason, Evan? I would say, for me, it would be you're healthy as you can be at the end of a long regular season, and you're carrying some kind of cohesive momentum working in your direction. You're pushing towards something final and real and purposeful. And that is the exact opposite of where it feels like the Cavs are right now as you head into the final stretch of the season.
Yeah,
Thomas, I'm about like a 7 answer my own question, like a 6.5, okay, a 7.
Yeah, it's about to ask that.
Yeah,
but looking at just how this season has gone, I was talking to you about this as we were heading into the show, but like it is becoming a bit of a worrisome trend for me with just how this team functions and operates. Evan Mobley's rookie season, they start out red hot. They fizzle entering the All-Star break and then exiting the All-Star break. And especially when Darius Garland was dealing with his back problems and Kevin Pango started at point guard for one game. But you could chalk it up to like injuries and stuff. Like the Cavs fizzled out post All-Star break and they limped into the postseason, losing the play-in to Brooklyn behind Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and then stunningly lose to the Hawks at home to just end their season much sooner than expected. Last season, we all know how that went. This is the first year with Donovan Mitchell. They come out red hot. They kind of deal with a lot of injuries, but they do limp back into the postseason, like they fizzle post All-Star break. And this year, we're seeing it again. And again, injuries are playing a part, but like it is concerning to me, just like because you're looking at Miami, and as you had noted, like the Heat are pretty banged up too in terms of just role players. Like they do have their stars, but the Cavs have stars too. They have Jared Allen and Darius Garland. That's a great place to be.
They have guys who should be stars.
Yeah, like they have guys who should be stars and be able to step up and carry the load. Whereas you look at Miami, like yes, they had Jimmy and Bam in this game, but you're getting like a collective effort from Patty Mills, a guy who I thought had no gas left in the tank, or you're getting stuff from like DeLon Wright. Or you're getting stuff just like, I mean, like, yeah, Haywood Highsmith was awesome in this game, but like, it's just a weird disparity. And like, I wonder, like, how much longer are the Cavs willing to go on this merry-go-round before they realize, all right, we got to stop the ride and fix what's wrong here?
Very weird times. The Cleveland Cavaliers. We're going to end there. Evan will be taking the reins this week. I'm going to be out for a couple days on some work business, some day job business. So Evan's in charge the rest of the week. Him and Jake have the keys to the family minivan right now.
He'll stay part. I'll make sure it has the same amount of gas in it. If you put a piece of tape over the ignition switch or like a random hair follicle on the dashboard to really make sure I wasn't driving it, like it'll all be there, I promise.
The other night, this reminds me. The other night, I don't even remember what game this was at this point, but they was it the Heat game at home? They panned to a fan in the crowd who had a Niang Gang t-shirt with a minivan on it, and I just want to I just thought it was a pretty great t-shirt, honestly.
Hey man, people bought Joe Flacco stuff like crazy, and it's gonna be obnoxious as soon as like mid-season, and the Browns are sputtering. So Cleveland fans are fans. Fan is short for fanatic. If you want a Niang Gang minivan t-shirt, rock on. I have one that is like one of those hype beast ones. I'm going to drop the link to it in the chat so Chris can see it himself real quick. Because this is a shirt I'd honestly... Oh, no, wait. Okay, never mind. I'll just text it to you after the show. But it's okay. And I'll ask Jake to throw it up here because it's just like, it's nothing inappropriate. I'm just like, this shirt kind of goes hard for like the Niang Gang shirt. That kind of sitch. So
yeah. That or Jackson Flickinger, our friend, had like a nice Sam Merrill Mormon shirt. That'd also be cool. We're gonna end there though.
That'll just be a white button up in black slacks. So
I was gonna say something else I won't. All right, we're gonna end there. I'm Chris Manning. That is Evan Dammarell. He'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back. Cover Cavs Sixers on Friday, which is shaping up to be a very important game. So we'll cover that. Come then, Evan will have you this week. Check out All of Locked in NBA this week for all things across the league. Have a great rest of your day. Evan will talk to you tomorrow.